What were banks known for in the past? Basically, banks were bricks and mortar institutions, not known for innovation. And even when banks pretended to be innovating, it really wasn't about you, the customer. It was more about the banks. The more technology we've had and the more digital platforms we've built, the more we started to yearn for a human experience. And so the person that's going to win, whether a fintech, a telco, or a bank, is one that's going to build the right technology and can leave you with that feeling that there are people who care about you, that these organizations care about you. I'm going to tell you something that at Guaranty Trust we are going to win. The reason we're going to do that is that first we have built all the platforms. I showed them to you. We have GT Collections, we have GT Pay, we have all the digital platforms required.
But calm down, come and find out what I know now. Mommy, cool down, get the low down. Don't let money stop you from being great. Oh, there's a new way. If you have dreams and you need pay, and the bills piling every day, let nobody stress you for money's sake. Oh, quick credit, Papa, Mama, there is good news. Quick credit, borrow quick money that you can use. Quick credit, the money's so fast. Bluetooth, low interest rates you can every day, anytime. On your own, quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, anytime. On your own, quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit.
See, I've got too much issues on my mind. With all this stress, hope I'll be fine. Oh, no. I need to find an easy way. Oh, yeah. I use quick credit to save me.
Quick credit.
Everybody come and hear the new way.
Quick credit.
Money so quick like a jet plane.
Quick credit.
Now I'm so fly like an airplane. No stress, no hassle, no
Every day,
complaint.
anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, now, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone. Yeah. When you wanna make sure that you'll be alright. Be alright, be alright. When you need some cash to pay for flight. Won't pay for flight. You gotta celebrate that special season. All you need money for any reason. Every day, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, now, anytime, now, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone.
My house rent just got due last month. This is the 7th call from my landlord. I really need to go renew my passport, but I don't even have a single dime for transport. So many bills on my neck, but salary won't come till the 2nd of next month. I've been finding it hard to send this text, bro. So now my data finish, I think send a network. Chai, and junior school fees there that we have to sort. I'm just praying his teacher no send him back today. And I know that I could solve all of this problem at once. If I could only get a loan that won't be hard to pay. See, no worries, bro, quick credit got you. For the fast loans with no stress, no hassles. Low interest rates, all you have to do is dial your phone and get a credit alert.
Every day, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, now, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone.
What were banks known for in the past? Basically, banks were bricks and mortar institutions, not known for innovation. And even when banks pretended to be innovating, it really wasn't about you, the customer. It was more about the banks. The more technology we've had and the more digital platforms we've built, the more we've started to yearn for a human experience. And so the person that's going to win, whether it's fintech, a telco, or a bank, is one that's going to build the right technology and can leave you with that feeling that there are people who care about you, that these organizations care about you. I'm going to tell you something that at Guaranty Trust we are going to win. The reason we're going to do that is that first we have built all the platforms. I showed them to you. We have GT Collections, we have GT Pay, we have all the digital platforms required.
But calm down, come and find out what I know now. Mommy, cool down, get the low down. Don't let money stop you from being great. Oh, there's a new way. If you have dreams and you need bread, and the bills piling every day, let nobody stress you for money's sake. Oh, quick credit, Papa, Mama, there is good news. Quick credit, borrow quick money that you can use. Quick credit, the money's so fast. Bluetooth, low interest rates you can every day, anytime. On your own, quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, anytime. On your own, quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit.
See, I've got too much issues on my mind. With all this stress, hope I'll be fine. Oh, no, no, no. I need to find an easy way. Oh, yeah. I use quick credit to save me.
Quick credit.
Everybody come ahead in new way.
Quick credit.
Money so quick like a jet plane.
Quick credit.
Now I'm so fly like an airplane. No stress, no hassle, no complaint.
Anytime, on your own, quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, now, anytime. On your own, quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone. Yeah, when you wanna make sure that you'll be alright. Be alright, be alright. When you need some cash to pay for flight. Won't pay for flight. You gotta celebrate that special season. All you need money for any reason. Every day, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, now, anytime, now, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone.
My house rent just got due last month. This is the 7th call from my landlord. I really need to go renew my passport, but I don't even have a single dime for transport. So many bills on my neck, but salary won't come till the 2nd of next month. I've been finding it hard to send this text, bro. So now my data finish, I think saying a network. Chai, and junior school fees there that we have to sort. I'm just praying his teacher no send him back today. And I know that I could solve all of this problem at once. If I could only get a loan that won't be hard to pay. See, no worries, bro. Quick credit got you for the fast loans with no stress, no hassles, low interest rates. All you have to do is dial your phone and get a credit alert.
Every day, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, now, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit. Anytime, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone.
Quick credit.
Say every day, anytime,
On your own. Quick credit.
on the go, it's on your phone. Yeah, now, every day.
He's got to be here to be able to. That's why usually you have an engineer and then you have an assistant who does all of that. But because of the numbers, okay. So the staff should always have sanitizer. Once one finish, you want to do that, or else that's easy contact. Or once you hand or is either the other way. Once you hand the mic, sanitize your hands. That's another way to do it. All done, yeah. Nice one. All right, thanks a lot, John. I'm the one streaming, but Solano was watching it. So you can go on the YouTube. You can go on the YouTube. Yeah, Solano is there in the way.
Okay, so Lana, I like to see what you are watching through.
Like we're saying. I just shared the link to Facebook. Yeah, so that's that done. All right, cool. We're good. Tidy up our own stuff. The things we don't know, then we put in the car. We can leave this box. We can take this one into the car. We don't need this. And that means apart from that, we're okay. Apart from that, we should be okay. Huh? Check 1, 2, 2.
What were banks known for in the past? Basically, banks were bricks and mortar institutions, not known for innovation. And even when banks pretended to be innovating, it really wasn't about you, the customer. It was more about the banks. The more technology we've had and the more digital platforms we've built, the more we started to yearn for a human experience. And so the person that's going to win, whether it's fintech, a telco, or a bank, is one that's going to build the right technology and can leave you with that feeling that there are people who care about you, that these organizations care about you. I'm going to tell you something that at Guaranty Trust we are going to win. The reason we're going to do that is that first we have built all the platforms. I showed them to you. We have GT Collections, we have GT Pay, we have all the digital platforms required.
Papa, calm down. Come and find out what I know now. Mommy, cool down, get the low down. Don't let money stop you from being great. Oh, there's a new way. If you have dreams and you need pay, and the bills piling every day, let nobody stress you for money's sake. Oh, quick credit. Papa, mama, there is good news. Quick credit. Borrow quick money that you can use. Quick credit. The money's so fast. Bluetooth, low interest rates you can every day, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan, on the go, it's on your
With all this stress, hope I'll be fine. Oh, no, no, no. I need to find an easy way. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. I use quick credit to save me. Oh, yeah. Everybody come my head in new way.
Quick credit.
Money so quick like a jet plane.
Quick credit.
Now I'm so fly like an airplane. No stress, no hassle, no complaint.
Anytime, on your own. Quick credit. You need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit. Every day now, anytime. On your own. Quick credit. You need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone. Yeah. When you wanna make sure that you'll be alright. Be alright, be alright. When you need some cash to pay for flight. Won't pay for flight. You gotta celebrate that special season. Or you need money for any reason. Every day, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, now, anytime, now, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone.
My house rent just got due last month. This is the 7th call from my landlord. I really need to go renew my passport, but I don't even have a single dime for transport. So many bills on my neck, but salary won't come till the 2nd of next month. I've been finding it hard to send this text, bro. So now my data finish, I think send a network. Chai, and junior school fees there that we have to sort. I'm just praying his teacher no send him back today. And I know that I could solve all of this problem at once. If I could only get a loan that won't be hard to pay. See, no worries, bro. Quick credit got you for the fast loans with no stress, no hassles, low interest rates. All you have to do is dial your phone and get a credit
Every day, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, now, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone. Yeah. Anytime, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone.
Quick credit.
Say every day, anytime,
Anytime, on
What were banks known for in the past? Basically, banks were bricks and mortar institutions, not known for innovation. And even when banks pretended to be innovating, it really wasn't about you, the customer. It was more about the banks. The more technology we've had and the more digital platforms we've built, the more we've started to yearn for a human experience. And so the person that's going to win, whether it's fintech, a telco, or a bank, is one that's going to build the right technology and can leave you with that feeling that there are people who care about you, that these organizations care about you. I'm going to tell you something that at Guaranty Trust we are going to win. The reason we're going to do that is that first we have built all the platforms. I showed them to you. We have GT Collections, we have GT Pay, we have all the digital platforms required.
Papa, calm down. Come and find out what I know now. Mommy, cool down, get the low down. Don't let money stop you from being great. Oh, there's a new way. If you have dreams and you need bread, and the bills piling every day, let nobody stress you for money's sake. Oh, quick credit. Papa, mama, there is good news. Quick credit. Borrow quick money that you can use. Quick credit. The money's so fast. Bluetooth, low interest rates you can every day, anytime. On your own, quick credit. You need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, anytime. On your own, quick credit. You need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit.
See, I've got too much issues on my mind. With all this stress, hope I'll be fine. Oh, no, no, no. I need to find an easy way. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I use quick credit to save me. Oh, yeah.
Quick credit.
Everybody come ahead in new way.
Quick credit.
Money so quick like a jet plane.
Quick credit.
Now I'm so fly like an airplane. No stress, no hassle, no complaint.
Anytime, on your own, quick credit. You need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, now, anytime. On your own, quick credit. You need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Yeah, when you wanna make sure that you'll be alright. Be alright, be alright. When you need some cash to pay for flight. Won't pay for flight. You gotta celebrate that special season. Or you need money for any reason. Every day, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, now, anytime, now, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone.
My house rent just got due last month. This is the 7th call from my landlord. I really need to go renew my passport, but I don't even have a single dime for transport. So many bills on my neck, but salary won't come till the 2nd of next month. I've been finding it hard to send this text, bro. So now my data finish, I think saying our network. Chai, and junior school fees there that we have to sort. I'm just praying his teacher no sending back today. And I know that I could solve all of this problem at once. If I could only get a loan that won't be hard to pay. See, no worries, bro. Quick credit got you for the fast loans with no stress, no hassles, low interest rates. All you have to do is dial your phone and get a credit alert.
Every day, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, now, anytime. On your own. Quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit. Anytime, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone.
Quick credit.
Say every day, anytime,
Anytime, on your own. Quick credit.
on the go, it's on your phone. Yeah, now, every day.
What were banks known for in the past? Basically, banks were bricks and mortar institutions, not known for innovation. And even when banks pretended to be innovating, it really wasn't about you, the customer. It was more about the banks. The more technology we've had and the more digital platforms we've built, the more we started to yearn for a human experience. And so the person that's going to win, whether a fintech, a telco, or a bank, is one that's going to build the right technology and can leave you with that feeling that there are people who care about you, that these organizations care about you. I'm going to tell you something that at Guaranty Trust we are going to win. The reason we're going to do that is that first we have built all the platforms. I showed them to you. We have GT Collections, we have GT Pay, we have all the digital platforms required.
Papa, calm down. Come and find out what I know now. Mommy, cool down, get the low down. Don't let money stop you from being great. Oh, there's a new way. If you have dreams and you need pay, and the bills piling every day, let nobody stress you for money's sake. Oh, quick credit. Papa, mama, there is good news. Quick credit. Borrow quick money that you can use. Quick credit. The money's so fast. Bluetooth, low interest rates you can every day, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit.
See, I've got too much issues on my mind. With all this stress, hope I'll be fine. Oh, no, no, no. I need to find an easy way. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. I use quick credit to save me. Oh, yeah.
Quick credit.
Everybody come my head in new way.
Quick credit.
Money so quick like a jet plane.
Quick credit.
Now I'm so fly like an airplane. No stress, no hassle, no complaint.
Anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day now, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Yeah, when you wanna make sure that you'll be alright, be alright, be alright. When you need some cash to pay for flight, won't pay for flight. You gotta celebrate that special season. Or you need money for any reason. Every day, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, now, anytime, now, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone.
My house rent just got due last month. This is the 7th call from my landlord. I really need to go renew my passport, but I don't even have a single dime for transport. So many bills on my neck, but salary won't come till the 2nd of next month. I've been finding it hard to send this text, bro. So now my data finish, I think send a network. Chai, and junior school fees there that we have to sort. I'm just praying his teacher no sending back today. And I know that I could solve all of this problem at once. If I could only get a loan that won't be hard to pay. See, no worries, bro. Quick credit got you for the fast loans with no stress, no hassles, low interest rates. All you have to do is dial your phone and get a credit
Every day, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, now, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Yeah. Anytime, you need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone.
Quick credit.
Say every day, anytime,
On your own. Quick credit.
on the go, it's on your phone. Yeah, now, every day.
What were banks known for in the past? Basically, banks were bricks and mortar institutions, not known for innovation. And even when banks pretended to be innovating, it really wasn't about you, the customer. It was more about the banks. The more technology we've had and the more digital platforms we've built, the more we've started to yearn for a human experience. And so the person that's going to win, whether a fintech, a telco, or a bank, is one that's going to build the right technology and can leave you with that feeling that there are people who care about you, that these organizations care about you. I'm going to tell you something that at Guaranty Trust we are going to win. The reason we're going to do that is that first we have built all the platforms. I showed them to you. We have GT Collections, we have GT Pay, we have all the digital platforms required.
Papa, calm down. Come and find out what I know now. Mommy, cool down, get the low down. Don't let money stop you from being great. Oh, there's a new way. If you have dreams and you need pay, and the bills piling every day, let nobody stress you for money's sake. Oh, quick credit. Papa, mama, there is good news. Quick credit. Borrow quick money that you can use. Quick credit. The money's so fast. Bluetooth, low interest rates you can every day, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit.
See, I've got too much issues on my mind. With all this stress, hope I'll be fine. Oh, no, no, no. I need to find an easy way. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. I use quick credit to save me. Oh, yeah.
Quick credit.
Everybody come my head in new way.
Quick credit.
Money so quick like a jet plane.
Quick credit.
Now I'm so fly like an airplane. No stress, no hassle, no complaint.
Anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day now, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Yeah, when you wanna make sure that you'll be alright, be alright, be alright. When you need some cash to pay for flight, won't pay for flight. You gotta celebrate that special season. Or you need money for any reason. Every day, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, now, anytime, now, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone.
My house rent just got due last month. This is the 7th call from my landlord. I really need to go renew my passport, but I don't even have a single dime for transport. So many bills on my neck, but salary won't come till the 2nd of next month. I've been finding it hard to send this text, bro. So now my data finish, I think send a network. Chai, and junior school fees there that we have to sort. I'm just praying his teacher no sending back today. And I know that I could solve all of this problem at once. If I could only get a loan that won't be hard to pay. See, no worries, bro. Quick credit got you for the fast loans with no stress, no hassles, low interest rates. All you have to do is dial your phone and get a credit alert.
Every day, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, now, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Yeah. Anytime, you need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone.
Quick credit.
Say every day, anytime,
Anytime, on your own. Quick credit.
on the go, it's on your phone. Yeah, now, every day.
What were banks known for in the past? Basically, banks were bricks and mortar institutions, not known for innovation. And even when banks pretended to be innovating, it really wasn't about you, the customer. It was more about the banks. The more technology we've had and the more digital platforms we've built, the more we've started to yearn for a human experience. And so the person that's going to win, whether a fintech, a telco, or a bank, is one that's going to build the right technology and can leave you with that feeling that there are people who care about you, that these organizations care about you. I'm going to tell you something that at Guaranty Trust we are going to win. The reason we're going to do that is that first we have built all the platforms. I showed them to you. We have GT Collections, we have GT Pay, we have all the digital platforms required.
Papa, calm down. Come and find out what I know now. Mommy, cool down, get the low down. Don't let money stop you from being great. Oh, there's a new way. If you have dreams and you need bread, and the bills piling every day, let nobody stress you for money's sake. Oh, quick credit. Papa, mama, there is good news. Quick credit. Borrow quick money that you can use. Quick credit. Money so fast. Bluetooth. Low interest rates you carry there. Anytime. On your own, quick credit. You need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, anytime. On your own, quick credit. You need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit.
See, I've got too much issues on my mind. With all this stress, hope I'll be fine. Oh, no, no, no. I need to find an easy way. Oh, yeah. I use quick credit to save me.
Quick credit.
Everybody come my head in new way.
Quick credit.
Money so quick like a jet plane.
Quick credit.
Now I'm so fly like an airplane. No stress, no hassle, no complaint.
Anytime, on your own, quick credit. You need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day now, anytime. On your own, quick credit. You need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Yeah, when you wanna make sure that you'll be alright. Be alright, be alright. When you need some cash to pay for flight. Won't pay for flight. You gotta celebrate that special season. Or you need money for any reason. Every day, anytime, on your own. Quick credit. You need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit. Every day, now, anytime, now, on your own. Quick credit. You need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone.
My house rent just got due last month. This is the 7th call from my landlord. I really need to go renew my passport, but I don't even have a single dime for transport. So many bills on my neck, but salary won't come till the 2nd of next month. I've been finding it hard to send this text, bro. So now my data finish, I think it's in a network. Chai, and junior school fees there that we have to sort. I'm just praying his teacher no send him back today. And I know that I could solve all of this problem at once. If I could only get a loan that won't be hard to pay. See, no worries, bro. Quick credit got you for the fast loans with no stress, no hassles, low interest rates. All you have to do is dial your phone and get a credit alert.
Every day, anytime, on your own. Quick credit. You need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit. Every day, now, anytime, on your own. Quick credit. You need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Yeah. Anytime, you need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone.
Quick credit.
Say every day, anytime,
On your own. Quick credit.
on the go, it's on your phone. Yeah.
What were banks known for in the past? Basically, banks were bricks and mortar institutions, not known for innovation. And even when banks pretended to be innovating, it really wasn't about you, the customer. It was more about the banks. The more technology we've had and the more digital platforms we've built, the more we started to yearn for a human experience. And so the person that's going to win, whether a fintech, a telco, or a bank, is one that's going to build the right technology and can leave you with that feeling that there are people who care about you, that these organizations care about you. I'm going to tell you something that at Guaranty Trust we are going to win. The reason we're going to do that is that first we have built all the platforms. I showed them to you. We have GT Collections, we have GT Pay, we have all the digital platforms required.
Papa, calm down. Come and find out what I know now. Mommy, cool down, get the low down. Don't let money stop you from being great. Oh, there's a new way. If you have dreams and you need bread, and the bills piling every day, let nobody stress you for money's sake. Oh, quick credit. Papa, mama, there is good news. Quick credit. Borrow quick money that you can use. Quick credit. The money's so fast. Bluetooth, low interest rates you can every day, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit.
See, I've got too much issues on my mind. With all this stress, hope I'll be fine. Oh, no, no, no. I need to find an easy way. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. I use quick credit to save me. Oh, yeah.
Quick credit.
Everybody come my head in new way.
Quick credit.
Money so quick like a jet plane.
Quick credit.
Now I'm so fly like an airplane. No stress, no hassle, no complaint.
Anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day now, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Yeah, when you wanna make sure that you'll be alright, be alright, be alright. When you need some cash to pay for flight, won't pay for flight. You gotta celebrate that special season. Or you need money for any reason. Every day, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, now, anytime, now, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone.
My house rent just got due last month. This is the 7th call from my landlord. I really need to go renew my passport, but I don't even have a single dime for transport. So many bills on my neck, but salary won't come to the 2nd of next month. I've been finding it hard to send this text, bro. So now my data finish, I think it's in a network. Chai, and junior school fees there that we have to sort. I'm just praying his teacher no send him back today. And I know that I could solve all of this problem at once. If I could only get a loan that won't be hard to pay. See, no worries, bro. Quick credit got you for the fast loans with no stress, no hassles, low interest rates. All you have to do is dial your phone and get a credit alert.
Every day, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, now, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone.
What were banks known for in the past? Basically, banks were bricks and mortar institutions, not known for innovation. And even when banks pretended to be innovating, it really wasn't about you, the customer. It was more about the banks. The more technology we've had and the more digital platforms we've built, the more we've started to yearn for a human experience. And so the person that's going to win, whether a fintech, a telco, or a bank, is one that's going to build the right technology and can leave you with that feeling that there are people who care about you, that these organizations care about you. I'm going to tell you something that at Guaranty Trust we are going to win. The reason we're going to do that is that first we have built all the platforms. I showed them to you. We have GT Collections, we have GT Pay, we have all the digital platforms required.
Papa, calm down. Come and find out what I know now. Mommy, cool down, get the low down. Don't let money stop you from being great. Oh, there's a new way. If you have dreams and you need pay, and the bills piling every day, let nobody stress you for money's sake. Oh, quick credit. Papa, mama, there is good news. Quick credit. Borrow quick money that you can use. Quick credit. The money's so fast. Bluetooth, low interest rates you can every day, anytime. On your own, quick credit. You need a loan on the go. It's on your phone. Quick credit. Every day, anytime. On your own, quick credit. You need a loan on the go. It's on your phone. Quick credit.
See, I've got too much issues on my mind. With all this stress, hope I'll be fine. Oh, no. I need to find an easy way. Oh, yeah. I use quick credit to save me.
Quick credit.
Everybody come and hear the new way.
Quick credit.
Money so quick like a jet plane.
Quick credit.
Now I'm so fly like an airplane. No stress, no hassle, no complaint.
Anytime, on your own, quick credit. You need a loan on the go. It's on your phone. Quick credit. Every day now, anytime, on your own, quick credit. You need a loan on the go. It's on your phone. Yeah. When you wanna make sure that you'll be alright. Be alright. Be alright. When you need some cash to pay for flight. Won't pay for flight. You gotta celebrate that special season. Or you need money for any reason. Every day, anytime, on your own. Quick credit. You need a loan on the go. It's on your phone. Quick credit. Every day, now, anytime, now on your own. Quick credit. You need a loan on the go. It's on your phone.
My house rent just got due last month. This is the 7th call from my landlord. I really need to go renew my passport, but I don't even have a single dime for transport. So many bills on my neck, but salary won't come till the 2nd of next month. I've been finding it hard to send this text, bro. So now my data finish, I think send a network. Chai, and junior school fees there that we have to sort. I'm just praying his teacher no send him back today. And I know that I could solve all of this problem at once. If I could only get a loan that won't be hard to pay. See, no worries, bro. Quick credit got you for the fast loans with no stress, no hassles, low interest rates. All you have to do is dial your phone and get a credit alert.
Every day, anytime, on your own. Quick credit. You need a loan on the go. It's on your phone. Quick credit. Every day now, anytime, on your own. Quick credit. You need a loan on the go. It's on your phone. Quick credit. Anytime, you need a loan on the go. It's on your phone.
Quick credit.
Say every day, anytime,
Anytime, on your own. Quick credit.
on the go. It's on your phone. Yeah, now every day.
What were banks known for in the past? Basically, banks were bricks and mortar institutions, not known for innovation. And even when banks pretended to be innovating, it really wasn't about you, the customer. It was more about the banks. The more technology we've had and the more digital platforms we've built, the more we've started to yearn for a human experience. And so the person that's going to win, whether a fintech, a telco, or a bank, is one that's going to build the right technology and can leave you with that feeling that there are people who care about you, that these organizations care about you. I'm going to tell you something that at Guaranty Trust we are going to win. The reason we're going to do that is that first we have built all the platforms. I showed them to you. We have GT Collections, we have GT Pay, we have all the digital platforms required.
Papa, calm down. Come and find out what I know now. Mommy, cool down, get the low down. Don't let money stop you from being great. Oh, there's a new way. If you have dreams and you need pay, and the bills piling every day, let nobody stress you for money's sake. Oh, quick credit. Papa, mama, there is good news. Quick credit. Borrow quick money that you can use. Quick credit. The money's so fast. Bluetooth, low interest rates you can every day, anytime. On your own, quick credit. You need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, anytime. On your own, quick credit. You need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit.
See, I've got too much issues on my mind. With all this stress, hope I'll be fine. Oh, no, no, no. I need to find an easy way. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I use quick credit to save me. Oh, yeah.
Quick credit.
Everybody come ahead in new way.
Quick credit.
Money so quick like a jet plane.
Quick credit.
Now I'm so fly like an airplane. No stress, no hassle, no complaint.
Anytime, on your own, quick credit. You need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, now, anytime. On your own, quick credit. You need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Yeah, when you wanna make sure that you'll be alright. Be alright, be alright. When you need some cash to pay for flight. Won't pay for flight. You gotta celebrate that special season. All you need money for any reason. Every day, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, now, anytime, now, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone.
My house rent just got due last month. This is the 7th call from my landlord. I really need to go renew my passport, but I don't even have a single dime for transport. So many bills on my neck, but salary won't come till the 2nd of next month. I've been finding it hard to send this text, bro. So now my data finish, I think saying a network. Chai, and junior school fees there that we have to sort. I'm just praying his teacher no send him back today. And I know that I could solve all of this problem at once. If I could only get a loan that won't be hard to pay. See, no worries, bro. Quick credit got you for the fast loans with no stress, no hassles, low interest rates. All you have to do is dial your phone and get a credit alert.
Every day, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, now, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit. Anytime, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone.
Quick credit.
Say every day, anytime,
On your own. Quick credit.
on the go, it's on your phone.
What were banks known for in the past? Basically, banks were bricks and mortar institutions, not known for innovation. And even when banks pretended to be innovating, it really wasn't about you, the customer. It was more about the banks. The more technology we've had and the more digital platforms we've built, the more we've started to yearn for a human experience. And so the person that's going to win, whether a fintech, a telco, or a bank, is one that's going to build the right technology and can leave you with that feeling that there are people who care about you, that these organizations care about you. I'm going to tell you something that at Guaranty Trust we are going to win. The reason we're going to do that is that first we have built all the platforms. I showed them to you. We have GT Collections, we have GT Pay, we have all the digital platforms required.
Papa, calm down. Come and find out what I know now. Mommy, cool down, get the low down. Don't let money stop you from being great. Oh, there's a new way. If you have dreams and you need bread, and the bills piling every day, let nobody stress you for money's sake. Oh, quick credit. Papa, mama, there is good news. Quick credit. Borrow quick money that you can use. Quick credit. Money so fast. Bluetooth. Low interest rates you can every day. Anytime. On your own, quick credit. You need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, anytime. On your own, quick credit. You need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit.
See, I've got too much issues on my mind. With all this stress, hope I'll be fine. Oh, no, no, no. I need to find an easy way. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I use quick credit to save me. Oh, yeah.
Quick credit.
Everybody come my head in new way.
Quick credit.
Money so quick like a jet plane.
Quick credit.
Now I'm so fly like an airplane. No stress, no hassle, no complaint.
Anytime, on your own, quick credit. You need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day now, anytime. On your own, quick credit. You need a loan, on the go, it's on your phone. Yeah. When you wanna make sure that you'll be alright. Be alright, be alright. When you need some cash to pay for flight. Won't pay for flight. You gotta celebrate that special season. Or you need money for any reason. Every day, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, now, anytime, now, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone.
My house rent just got due last month. This is the 7th call from my landlord. I really need to go renew my passport, but I don't even have a single dime for transport. So many bills on my neck, but salary won't come to the 2nd of next month. I've been finding it hard to send this text, bro. So now my data finish, I think it's in a network. Chai, and junior school fees there that we have to sort. I'm just praying his teacher no send him back today. And I know that I could solve all of this problem at once. If I could only get a loan that won't be hard to pay. See, no worries, bro. Quick credit got you for the fast loans with no stress, no hassles, low interest rates. All you have to do is dial your phone and get a credit
Every day, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone. Quick credit, every day, now, anytime, on your own. Quick credit, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone. Yeah. Anytime, you need a loan. On the go, it's on your phone.
Please, let's have the opening prayer. I would like to invite Mr. Agbenga Edowu to kindly say the opening prayer. Good morning, esteemed shareholders, proxies, representatives of the regulatory authorities, the Securities and Exchange Commission, the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Nigerian Stock Exchange, and the Corporate Affairs Commission. Our auditors, PricewaterhouseCoopers, external consultants, Ernst & Young LLP, observers, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to bid you all a very well welcome to the 30th annual general meeting of our company, Guaranty Trust Bank PLC. I would like to draw attention to the register of shareholders of the company, which is available for inspection. I would also like to draw the attention of the Register of Directors shareholding, which is available for inspection during this meeting. In compliance with Section 275, subsection 8 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act of 2004, I also draw attention to the Register of Directors' attendance at meetings, which is available for inspection pursuant to Section 258, subsection 2 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2004. In line with our tradition, I would like to commence proceedings at this meeting by introducing members of the board as well as officers, representatives of regulatory authorities, and advisors of our company, some of whom have sent in their proxy. I would also like to start by introducing directors present at this meeting, in line with the approval received from the Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC, for attendance of the meeting by proxy. We are happy to announce that the following directors have duly appointed myself as their proxy to represent them at the meeting. Mr. Olabode Agosto, non-executive director. Mr. Adebayo Adeola, non-executive director. Mr. Ibrahim Hassan, non-executive director. Mr. Adeshola Oyinlola, non-executive director. Mr. Babatunde Shoyoye, independent non-executive director. Mrs. Victoria Adefala, independent non-executive director. Ms. Imoni Akpofure, independent non-executive director. Mr. Demola Odeyemi, executive director. Mr. Haruna Musa, executive director. Mr. Bolaji Lawal, executive director. Mrs. Miriam Chidebele Olusoya, executive director. And Mr. Babajide Oguntola, executive director. To my right, I have the managing director and chief executive officer of our company, Mr. Shegun Agbaje. And to my left, I have Mr. Eri Obebeduo, company secretary of our company. Moving to our regulators, on the table below to my left, we have representing the Stock Exchange, the Security and Stock Exchange Commission, Mr. Taiwo Odusonya. We have God's Time Iwenikai, representing the Nigeria Stock Exchange. I now introduce our advisors on the table below to my right. First, we have our auditors, Mrs. PricewaterhouseCoopers, represented by Mrs. Obioma Uba. Next is Mrs. Misa Shenaye, representing Datamax Registrars Limited. We have Mrs. Sandra Umbago Fagbemi, shareholders representative and chairman of the Statutory Audit Committee of the bank. We also have Mr. Benson Uweru, representing Ernst & Young LLP, external consultants on the annual board appraisal. May I introduce myself? My name is Osaitin Demorin, chairman board of directors. May I at this point call upon the secretary to read the notice convening this meeting. Thank you, Eric. It is important. We want to say something on COVID-19 pandemic. It is important to draw shareholders' attention to the COVID-19 pandemic, which has caused a health hazard globally and necessitated the directive to adopt social distancing measures, leading to national and state governments placing restrictions on public gatherings, meetings, and movements. Lagos State, which is the venue of our company, AGM, has issued directive banning public gatherings of more than 25 people. Thus, in compliance with the Lagos State government directive, the number of people present is not expected to be more than 25, and we already cross-checked that. Our company's AGM is being streamlined live for shareholders, regulators, and observers who are unable to be physically present to attend the meeting. It is pertinent to highlight that the entire world is in uncharted territory, and the measures that have been adopted are to ensure the health and safety of not just our staff, but our esteemed shareholders, and to further ensure that the operations of our company are not disrupted as a result of the inability to carry out corporate actions. As an institution, we are adopting all the health and safety measures prescribed by the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and the Lagos State Ministry of Health to combat the pandemic. As you may already be aware, our company is also supporting the authorities in its own way in providing much-needed healthcare facilities in this trying time. The Managing Director will provide more details on the effort of the bank to support the government in this regard. So, Shegun, please.
Distinguished shareholders, at this very most difficult time for the country and the world, your bank is committed really to making sure that we give back to the society that has made us. So in collaboration with the Lagos State government, and I'll try to anticipate some of the comments that we have heard, we have built and delivered a 110-bed isolation center at Oniko Stadium. The cooperation of the Lagos State government was essential. We were given that site at 7 p.m. on Tuesday night, and we delivered it fully finished on Saturday to the government at 4 p.m. Irrespective of what you might hear, because just like the governor pointed out, there will be people who don't like what we did, but I assure you that what we have delivered, for those who have watched the videos, is a first-class isolation center. It is not a room with just, thank you, it is not just a facility with beds. It is actually a hospital, and the only thing you will not be able to do there is operations. So we have 30 consulting rooms, we have a waiting area, we have a pharmacy, we have a testing lab, we have an outside ward, we have doctors' quarters, female and male, we have showers, we have toilets, we have full facilities for feeding, which is a kitchen. Then in the main ward, we have a 10-bed ICU that has 10 ventilators, which means, contrary to a lot of hospitals or centers which you will go to today, if you're a chronic patient with respiratory problems, there is a ventilator. We have 10 of those. Then we have another 100 beds for people who are showing milder symptoms. A training started yesterday of all the personnel, because this disease, contrary to what people think, is very sensitive. You cannot run a hospital the way a normal hospital is run. So all the people who are going to work on that site are going through a 2-day program, training, up to the cleaners, the caterers, the doctors, on the entire process as to how you move in there. Unfortunately or fortunately, if by the time they start the center full-blown tomorrow, Wednesday, you will no longer be able to go in there, because there's certain protocols around these sorts of facilities. So I hope we will tweak 1 or 2 things, in which will only take us about 5 hours to do when the training is finished. I would like to, in handing it over, I was completely exhausted. And one of the comments I got was that I did not thank the shareholders and the customers. I apologize. I thank the shareholders, I thank the customers who have given us the means and the wherewithal to do this. Another comment I heard is the why Lagos? We must start somewhere. And it is who invites you to do this kind of thing that you do it with. So if the Lagos State government invited us and was willing to do this, that is where we have started. It is not to say that if we're called upon again, because we are a national institution, and if we're called upon again, we will continue to. People also said, will we be a part of the Bankers Committee initiative? Of course we will be. We are a Tier 1 bank. We're a socially responsible institution. And so wherever we are needed on this particular pandemic, we will throw in. So I apologize sincerely for not thanking my shareholders and my customers for giving us the wherewithal to do this. And I assure you that what you have enabled us to deliver. When we delivered the site, we prayed that maybe it will never be used and hope it will never be used. But what we have done is that if it is ever needed, then we have provided 110 first-class beds that will hopefully save the lives of people. I thank you very much.
So I would like to draw your attention to Section 51, subsection A of the Articles of Association of our company, which states that no business shall be transacted at any general meeting unless a quorum of members is present at the time when the meeting proceeds to business. Save as herein otherwise provided, a quorum of any general meeting of the company shall be formed where there are present in person or by proxy 100 members listed in the shareholders register of the company. Information received from the registrar indicated that a total of 496 shareholders representing holders of 54.4% of the company's issued share capital are present at the commencement of this meeting, out of which 9 shareholders are present in persons, while 487 shareholders are present by proxy. Based on the foregoing, a quorum has been formed, and this meeting is duly convened and properly constituted. In view of the approval provided by the Corporate Affairs Commission for the annual general meeting to be held by proxy, we now invite the registrars to provide the proxy report. Please.
Good morning, everybody. With the kind permission of the chair, the proxy report, as at the close of the proxy, 48 hours before the meeting, we received a total of 487 proxies for 15.9 million units of shares, representing 54.28% of the issued capital of Guaranty Trust Bank. Thank you. Sorry, and all of this, most of these were given proxies, named the chairperson as their proxy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Director's report and financial statements. I have the pleasure of presenting the audited financial statements and the director's report of the company, as well as the chairman's statement for the year ended December 31, 2019, copies of which had been previously circulated to shareholders, and suggest that they be taken as read. Thank you. And that's a copy. I now lay before you the director's report and the audited accounts of the company for the year ended 31, 2019, in accordance with the Companies and Allied Matters Act and the company's articles of association. Auditor's report. I now invite Mrs. Obioma Uba, representative of our auditor, PricewaterhouseCoopers, to read the report of the auditor. Mrs. Uba.
Thank you, Chairman. May I request the permission of shareholders and the chairman to just read the first paragraph only of the audit opinion in accordance with the need for brevity at this meeting. Thank you. Independent auditors report to the members of Guaranty Trust Bank PLC. Report on the audit of the consolidated and separate financial statements. Our opinion. In our opinion, the consolidated and separate financial statements give a true and fair view of the consolidated and separate financial position of Guaranty Trust Bank PLC, the bank, and its subsidiaries, together the group, as at 31st December 2019, and of their consolidated and separate financial performance and their consolidated and separate cash flows for the year then ended, in accordance with international financial reporting standards and the requirements of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, the Banks and Other Financial Institutions Act, and the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria Act. Signed by myself, Obiomoba, for PricewaterhouseCoopers, Chartered Accountants, Lagos, Nigeria, FRC number 2013, ICANN 702002, and dated 28th February 2020. Thank you.
I now invite Mrs. Sandra Mbago Fagbemi, the chairman of the Statutory Audit Committee, to read the Statutory Audit Committee report.
Report of the Audit Committee for the year ended December 31st, 2019. To the members of Guaranty Trust Bank, in accordance with the provisions of Section 3596 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2004, the members of the Audit Committee of Guaranty Trust Bank PLC hereby report as follows. We have exercised our statutory functions under Section 3596 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2004 and acknowledge the cooperation of management and staff in the conduct of these responsibilities. We are of the opinion that the accounting and reporting policies of the bank and group are in accordance with legal requirements and agreed ethical practices, and that the scope and planning of both the external and internal audits for the year ended December 31, 2019 were satisfactory and reinforced the group's internal control systems. We are satisfied that the bank has complied with the provisions of Central Bank of Nigeria Circular BSD/1/2004, dated 18 February 2004, on disclosure of directors-related credits in the financial statements of banks, and hereby confirm that an aggregate amount of 155,615,000 naira was outstanding as at 31st December 2019. The comparative amount as at 31st December 2018 was 179,316,000. The status of performance of insider-related credits is as disclosed in Note 46D. We have deliberated with the external auditors who have confirmed that necessary cooperation was received from management in the course of their statutory audit, and we are satisfied with management's responses to the external auditors' recommendations on accounting and internal control matters, and with the effectiveness of the bank's system of accounting and internal control. Signed by myself, Mrs. Sandra Mbago Fagbemi, Chairman, Audit Committee, dated February 18, 2020. My FRC number is as stated underneath. And the members of the Audit Committee are myself, Mrs. Mbago Fagbemi, Alhaji Eme Usman, Mrs. Aderonke Kuye, Mr. Bode Augusto, Mr. Ibrahim Hassan, and Mrs. Imoni Akpofure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Mbago Fagbemi. External Consultants Report. I now invite Mr. Benson Uweru, representative of the External Consultant, Ernst & Young, to read the report of the External Consultant on the board appraisal in line with the Central Bank of Nigeria Code of Corporate Governance for banks and discount houses.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairperson, and good morning to everyone. May I also use this opportunity to express our deepest appreciation to Guaranty Trust Bank for the timely intervention in the facility provided for the coronavirus intervention. Thank you very much once again. On behalf of Ernst & Young, I want to implore the indulgence of shareholders for me to give an abridged version of our report here. So I'll just take 2 paragraphs from the reading. Report of external consultants on the board performance appraiser of Guaranty Trust Bank PLC. I'm reading from page 70 of the annual report. We have performed the appraisal of the Guaranty Trust Bank PLC board for the year ended 31st December 2019 in accordance with the guidelines of section 2.8.3 of the Central Bank of Nigeria Revised Code of Corporate Governance, CCG 2014. On the basis of our work, except as noted below, the board of GTB PLC has complied with the requirements of section 2.8.3 of the CBN Revised Code of Corporate Governance during the year under review 31st December 2019. Specific recommendations for improvement on corporate governance practices have been articulated and included in our detailed report to the board. Some of the areas have been clearly listed, and we note that this report should be read in conjunction with the corporate governance section of the Guaranty Trust Bank annual report. Signed, Benson Uweru, Partner Advisory Services, FRC number 2013/CIBN 1554. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Uweru. Questions and answer session. We'd like at this point to take questions that our esteemed shareholders may have on the reports laid before the meeting, or general questions on the operations of the company. I hereby request that if questions have been asked on the annual report and accounts, speakers should make appropriate reference to the report, to the relevant pages, to ensure that the right answers are given. In addition, it will be helpful if members are brief and restrict their questions or comments to 1 or 2 at a time to afford others opportunity to speak. Each shareholder called upon should kindly state his or her name before asking any question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the chairman of the bank. Well, I'll start by congratulating the shareholders on the 30th anniversary of annual general meeting, because the anniversary of 30 years may not mean 30 years of the existence of the company. So it is very important sometimes for us to understand that. But however, I want to appreciate Guaranty Trust Bank board and management for the initiative of ensuring that a meeting is held for shareholders to be able to get their dividend. We will not be in a position of those who are donating money, but whatever is our dividend will go a long way in helping us this period of time of coronavirus. I also would like to appreciate the board and management on the initiative of going along with Lagos State government to build such facility that we have at Onekon Stadium, which is actually named Mobolaji Johnson Arena. So we thank you. Definitely we'll always support the bank in doing the right thing at the right time. I have just a few questions. I want to toe the line of the regulators and other professional bodies that decided to narrow up some of their presentations so that we can live here. We also have to realize that we're in an environment of the Chinese who brought in the virus. I am really worried about the situation in the country as far as deposit-taking banks are concerned. Interest is no longer interesting to those that put their money in the bank. Here we are, Tier 1 bank. I want to know what plan do we have for the future. Now, coupled with the issue of coronavirus, which has brought the entire world to a standstill. United States has provided $2 trillion as palliatives. Austria and all other countries, they have followed suit to ensure that the businesses does not suffer. In Nigeria, we're only able to give 20 naira reduction on fuel. How many of the poor masses do buy fuel? And this is a very important area that we need to look at because definitely it's going to affect the operations of our investment in the bank. It is also very important for me to quickly refer the board to the decrease in profitability as at 2019 annual report. That's starting from page 208 to 227. It's a big pointer to us that 2020 may not be as rosy as we have enjoyed in the past. And the management and board must put in a thinking cap to do something to check the decline in profitability. I was happy when we read from the newspapers that the managing director is thinking of moving into other areas of banking that will not be absolutely deposit taking, but other areas which we have sold in the past that we want to come back to see how it will contribute to the profitability of the company. But most worrisome is the increase in fraud and forgeries. In the year 2018, it was just about 700 and something million. In the year under consideration, it has gone up to 1.5 billion. And I was thinking that the audit committee will pick up this and ask for a proper investigation be done on it. Because the internal control reports to audit committee. And that's the more reason why the audit committee should expand their role in looking at this. If we do not check it from 700 or 800 to 1.5, I mean, there is need for an explanation on this. Now, part of what I think we should also take advantage of is the restricted deposit with Central Bank, which has grown to 443 billion naira. And I believe Central Bank is here. This money should also, part of it should be released to the company to cushion the effect of a low business in the place. And so that we can have more money to give out, since depositors may not be bringing in as much money as they were bringing in the past because of low interest. So it is very, very important. However, in line with my promise, I will have to appreciate the board, management, and staff of the bank for whatever they have reported and that they've been able to to give us 280 kobo in dividend. This, I think, deserves a round of applause by all of us here to the company. Mr. Chairman, I believe there is no lady chairman, but chairman is chairman. On that note, I also want to talk about the knowledge exhibited by the company secretariat and the management in ensuring that this meeting is held. So thank you very much. We look forward to a better planning for us to remain focused and for us to remain number one, tier one bank in this country. God bless all of us.
Thank you very much, sir. Any other question? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, today shouldn't celebration for these great institutions. Due to what we are passing through the whole world today, we will not have the opportunity to celebrate the board, the management, and the entire workforce for what they have done. But it's of worthy note that among the banks today and other companies have been postponing their AGMs. But we want to thank this board for the prompt attention that you have given to hold this AGM, despite the pandemic we are facing in today. The company secretary, the management are deeming fit that in line with what allowed by government to hold this AGM, that today we have fulfilled that obligation to hold this AGM. Many shareholders have called this morning that they are not coming, that we should go and pass the resolutions and pay their dividend. And that's what they're interested for. At this era of lockdown, people have been going to stay 2 weeks at home, which they already spent. What they need is their money to go to the bank. And without approval, you cannot pay. We want to thank you for making this day available for us to pass this resolution and pay this dividend. You have worked so hard, 280 is not easy to come by because you're operating on over-regulated industry. As the earlier speaker have said, my senior brother. That's what we are facing today. But despite of all these things, the bank have been called upon, the private sector, to come and donate. What they have now called you to donate is your own blood today. And the government is virtually doing nothing. We are working for the government. Look at the money we are spending today. It is not for the bank, but for the society which you operated upon. The government, this is really an era where government should be giving you tax relief, but they're not doing so. You provide everything virtually, and that's what the private sector are going through in the country today. It's unfortunately that this country doesn't help their citizens. All over the world today, they are running around to see what they can do to cushion the fate of the lockdown in their various countries. But I was just worked yesterday to wake up to speak. After speaking, it doesn't have any meaning. People are going to go home suffering. But thank God that we have institutions like these Guaranty Trust Banks who are doling out these billions to make sure that society are taken care of. Mr. Chairman, you could also note on page 239 of this annual report that institutions that ought to have been winding up were still given a lot of money. ANCOM have taken 31.7 billion in the last 2 years. The same thing with deposit insurance. NDIS will also pay 32.7 billion in the last 2 years. How do we go from here? Mr. Chairman, this is high time that the government begin to look at this institution, to wind them up. They cannot continue to exist on the expense of shareholders. The same shareholders today have been verified. Don't do this, don't do this. Your hands have been tied in various areas. You are doling out today, nobody asks you not to give to the society. But when it comes to shareholder, they will raise eyebrow. Mr. Chairman, I'm proud of this management and the board. If you go to insider related on page 309, excellent. And that's how it should be. This bank will have confidence on the able leadership. When you borrow as a shareholder or a customer, you should pay. I thank God that everything is performing. And they're not even recklessly abusing that privilege. Mr. Chairman, if you look at page 240, taxations, see what you are paying to the government. And we're still paying. Mr. Chairman, I think it's hard time. The government should be able to help private sector to thrive. CBN today will over calling banks, coercing you to give a loan to government. Mr. Chairman, giving the loans is board discretionary to appraise your customer, whether they are married to giving a loan or not. CBN should not force you to do this. Because even those loans are going bad, the same CBN will ask you to make provisions. And when they made this provision, we go back empty-handed. Well, thank you for Guaranty Trust today. Apart from maybe Zenith, that were ranking pari passu. Who among banks today that will pay such huge amount of dividend, running to billions of naira? No banks, apart from these two institutions. Mr. Chairman, I want to applaud the staff, Secretariat in particular, for making sure that this meeting holds today. That's statutorily, and shareholders have complied. We are here today, giving you that support. That's why a lot of them are having fear. They are at home. Go and buy these things. We're at the war front. Go and pass. Give us our dividend. And you have done what expected of you to do. And that's why GT will continue to hold corporate governance to the high extent. I want to commend the registrar for what also they have done, putting in place. And our money is going in the next few minutes. Everybody will see alert. I want to thank you for being there for Nigeria and the world at large. God bless all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll have this.
The chairman, the other directors in absentia, but since they've given the proxy to you, I'm sure you also extend to them. The name remains Nona Awu. First, I must say that as a bank, we're very lucky. Lucky in the sense that when this AGM was fixed, if he probably had tomorrow as the date for the meeting, certainly this meeting will not hold. If we also had a situation where this meeting was called much earlier, in between the lock-up period, certainly this meeting will not have held. So, but coupled with the fact that both the regulators and the regulated are learning new things, and that is talking about proxy AGM. If you also had special business, it will also have meant that you do only one leg of this meeting and the other leg will have left unhandled. So probably this is one of the ways that your 30 years of existence is being presented a birthday gift. So the birthday gift that you have is the fact that you got luck attached to it. But having said that, and going forward, by the way, the principal reason for investment is return. But that return itself is not only limited to dividend. And so that's basically what's going to give direction to the issues that I will be raising. If you look at page 7, and I think this has to do with the company secretary, the legibility of the notice, I don't think is good enough. Yes, I know that very many of the directors already wear glasses, but I don't think they should extend the cost of having to read an annual account to we having to use the dividend that will come in going to see an ophthalmologist or
Sorry, sir. Because I know you are very conscious, but we can't hear. It's too muffled. I don't think that you can just indulge us. Thank you.
I said the legibility of the notice of the meeting. Okay? I'll be hoping that God granting life, come next year, we'll have, even if we have 1.5 page for the notice, I don't think that will be too expensive for the cost of the annual account. I also think that on page 11, that what you should have in the line that has to do with board appointment has to be limited to the fact that you stated in that segment that shareholding is not a consideration for board appointment. I will want that line modified to say, to read, shareholding is not a major. Otherwise, what we'll be asking for going forward will be that other than the executive who are on the board, every other person should be an independent director. I don't think that statement is very correct. So let's take notes and make sure that going forward it is corrected. However, for the future as well, I'll be hoping that some level of assurance will be given as to what the bank is doing to address the areas that needs improvement in terms of corporate governance. Because for me, corporate governance is the beginning of any good company. The more that your corporate governance is strengthened, the better, not only for the company, much more importantly, for the minority shareholders. So I'll be hoping that you speak to areas of, especially board composition, or one of the issues that is being raised in the corporate governance sector. I am also concerned as to what we are doing in terms of unclaimed dividends. Yes, the dividend will be approved today, but if the dividend is not going to get to the shareholders because it's already accumulating, then that also becomes a challenge. Yes, I know that one of the common answers that you get is to say, oh, we are publishing, but I think as an organization, working with the registrar, which incidentally happens to be an extension of the company secretary's office, there's need for us to relook and rethink what we are doing with unclaimed dividends. I don't want to talk too much. I would not rather talk about the account, but I am concerned as to the non-representation of CBN at this meeting, as well as CAC. I want to be informed, because I know that they can't send another organization as their proxy. I want to be informed, were they invited? Because if they were invited and they are not here, we also need to understand all that's happened. It's on that note that I want to thank you for this meeting, not necessarily for us to pass dividends, because that's one of the things I hear all over the place. Because any society that is not constantly asking to take the bar to the next level, it then becomes a challenge. I've read quite a number of things that the regulator have released, especially CAC, and it's also becoming obvious that they need to go back and rethink the issue of proxy AGM. What they have basically done is to lift to a large extent what US SEC has done in terms of proxy AGM. Yes, we want to play in the global market, but we also must look at our peculiarities when we formulate some of these policies. That's basically why I asked whether CAC is here. The second one, or the second reason why I also asked whether CBN is here, is the fact that CBN is beginning to behave like a military organization. Yes, I know that some CEOs were there of the banks when the issue of how are they going to hold the situation that we find ourselves globally. But every organization is unique. You don't put a unitary decision on everybody. So it is important that we don't have a governor of central bank who becomes a major general as well. Otherwise, all of us will be in trouble. So we'll be hoping that using this medium, that CBN must allow banks and every organization that it regulates to use its own initiatives as to how best they think that things need to be done. By the way, why will you give money from a private sector and give to a government-led team in terms of spending? They don't have the same DNA when it comes to reporting expenditure. Otherwise, part of the money that we are donating may be using in clearing grass in some locations, and that is not the essence of why these donations are made. So, going forward, GT, you must bring up a resolution that will be limiting the amount of money you can give to a single donation. We raised this 3 years ago, but you don't seem to understand it. But now that it's coming up again, because if you have that, that itself will be protecting you from tyrants who call themselves government officials. We've seen them when they live where they are and they go into the private sector, how unfortunately they have not been able to perform. So next year, God granting life, you must bring up a resolution. CBN gives you the single obligor position. We as shareholders will also be asking, this is the maximum amount you can give to any organization, CBN inclusive and private sector inclusive. If you don't bring, we probably will bring one, and that itself may make life a little more difficult for you. So we're giving you the leeway. Please, next year, one of the resolutions that we must pass is how much is the maximum amount that you can give anybody as far as our organization is concerned. Otherwise, you have to come back to us to get approval in spending our money. By the way, it's our money. We only have given you the position to spend it on our behalf. But if you are going to find people who will make you spend it the way they think they want you to spend, then that itself will be running contrary to what corporate governance is all about. But much more importantly, in a corrupt country that is talking about fighting corruption, this is the biggest corruption as far as I understand corruption to be. Once again, I want to thank the board and management for all they have done, and hoping that 2021, when we'll meet to consider 2020 accounts, we'll also have better things to talk about. Thank you very much.
Amen. Thank you very much. Please, and I invite the managing director to respond to the questions.
Distinguished shareholders, let me start with Sir Sonu Wosu. Thank you very much. 30 years. You know, my chairman and I have my chairman she dictates everything. 30 years, we are very proud and very happy. But I always say, in the life of great organizations, 30 years is actually a very short time. And that my prayer, just as you've seen First Bank at 100 years, is that that is really what we should be focusing on. And that 30 years is good. The reason we have tempered the noise we've made about 30 years and we've dedicated it to CSR, which is why you've seen it called Enriching Lives, is that the aspiration for your own organization is that we be here in 100 years' time. Thank you on Onikon as well. Onikon was by your blessing and your grace, and as far as I'm concerned, what we achieved in Onikon was nothing short of a miracle. In terms of interest rates for banks, the future, you know, I will just try to tell you I'll try to take all these things at once. 2020 is going to be an extremely challenging year for banks. Even without the coronavirus, it was always going to be challenging. You're in an environment where interest income is dropping. You're in an environment where non-fee-based income is dropping because of the banker's tariff. So the only thing you can do really today is to grow the volumes. You have to be careful. Transactional volumes, you will try to grow. Credit growth, you have to be careful so that you don't do what happened in 2008, grow the loan book and then blow the loan book. So we work on the cost side, we work on the volumes, and it was always going to be difficult. But we continue to work, and as an organization, we always commit to never doing worse than we did the prior year. So even without coronavirus, it was always going to be a very difficult year for the financial sector. In terms of PBT, Sir Sonu, also again, I will move around a bit because we have not come to you for an EGM yet. The PBT of the bank was actually not down. The PBT of the bank was up 7.5%. So it's actually an improvement on 2019. We went from 215 to 231 billion. However, the reason we start to talk to you about diversifying our income base, subject to shareholder approval and obviously all the proper regulatory approvals, is that for you who have been shareholders, years ago we used to grow the PBT of this bank 40% year on year. And that at 7.5%, it's not strong enough. It's even being assailed more. And that at the appropriate time, we will come to the shareholders for the requisite approvals so that we can build a financial institution that will give you more than 7.5% year on year, because at 7.5% year on year, you're not even covering inflation in terms of real growth. And the objective of this board and this management is to make sure that in real terms, your profit is growing beyond the rate of inflation, which normal banking income today will not give you, but I don't want to go into too much detail because we will do that at the appropriate time. Frauds and forgeries. Yes, we all hate fraud, but another thing I will say is that you must always look at the absolute amounts we have lost. You must also look at the volume of transactions that we are doing. In terms of digital alone, on what we call USSD, we are growing about 33% year on year. We've done over 500 million individual transactions. In terms of mobile banking, we are growing over 65% year on year. So the actual transaction growth means that you are open to a bit more in terms of absolute numbers of frauds, but when you look at the percentages in terms of fraud versus volume transaction, we are actually not growing. It doesn't mean that we are happy to have any frauds. No, we are not. But the volumes have necessitated that in absolute numbers, there'll be a bit more fraud, but in percentage terms, it's well under control. We continue to, I guess when you talk about restricted deposits, I think you might be referring to things like CRR. We continue as we grow the loan book to appeal to the central bank for release of the CRR so that we can do it in an orderly manner. Next comments were on tax relief. I believe, but until it happens, I can only believe that the contributions we make for the relief of coronavirus or COVID-19 will be tax deductible, or we will get some tax credits for it. In terms of NDIC and AMCON, again, I've always said at AGMs that these are regulated industries, and so as institutions, it's very difficult for us to fight those fights, and that these are shareholder fights. And that if the shareholders believe that AMCON levies and NDIC levies have become inappropriate, that the shareholders take it up and rise up to protect their own money and their own profit. Insider-related credits, thank you very much. It was 155 million, all performing. Guaranty Trust, from a corporate governance perspective, does not encourage borrowings by directors or insiders, and so you will find that we are always far off from what the limits are, and they remain relatively immaterial. Even though some directors think that we might be hurting ourselves because some of them have viable businesses, but it's a decision we've taken, and that's how we want to lead our lives. Tax is high, we continue to manage, but as responsible social citizens and a responsible social organization, we must pay the taxes that are due to us. CBN's LDR policy, I've alluded to that even with the LDR policy, we will keep non-performing loans at the forefront, and that in growing the LDR and growing the loans, we will not be reckless. Thank you so much to the regulatory authorities, I think CAC, Stock Exchange, sorry if I leave anybody out, who have allowed us to do this proxy. When I get to Mr. Nona Awa, I will also say that my take on what has happened today is that it's a step in the right direction and that they will fine-tune it, but I have to commend them for their openness in looking at the rules and the regulations which allowed us to hold this AGM. My board and my chairman said, one day I phoned her, and I'm going to share this with you, and I said, Ma, we might have to postpone. She goes, no, Shego, we will not postpone. We will find ways in which to hold this AGM so that we can pay dividends to people at a time like this. And that is what we have done. That is the type of commitment you have from your board. Sir Nona Awu, you said the bank is very lucky. You might not know, I've seen you once or twice at Falomo. I would like to believe that we benefit from a huge amount of grace than being lucky. We finished Onikon before the lockdown. If the lockdown had happened, we would never have been able to finish it. Our AGM today is the last possible day you will be able to do this. So some people will call it luck. I like to call it grace. Proxy approval happened. In terms of return on investments, we will continue to work it. Apart from dividends, I believe that the ROE of this bank is about 31%, which means we're beating inflation and we're beating risk return. So dividend yield is 11%. We don't only look at the dividends, we look at the return on investment. We are not in control of what happens to the share price, but we can make sure that your return on equity remains strong above 25%. So we control the variables that we can. In terms of legibility of notices, we've taken the point, and I'm sure the legal team and company secretariat will do that. Page 11, board appointment. I take very seriously your sentence, and it will be amended. You know, you and I had the same thoughts on publishing of corporate governance shortcomings. And when the gentleman from Ernst & Young was reading, that was what went through my mind. So even though it's not disclosed, I think it's on page 70, am I correct? Yes. I'm going to publicly tell you what the shortcomings were. And in the future, we will put it because it really isn't anything earth-shattering. In terms of board meeting attendance, as you can see, it was almost perfect, apart from one director who has been spoken to, so that's public knowledge. So I think they were really highlighting the attendance of that one particular director. In terms of director trainings, what they were also referring to, which again you might disagree or agree with, is that all directors attend the same trainings. From our perspective, that's not how we run it, because we believe that people come to the board with different skills. And so what you will find is that our director trainings are not tailored and like off the chart. And what the chairman will attend might be different from what Mr. Augusto will attend, based upon one, the knowledge they have, and two, the amount of time you've been on the board. So you might have gone to those trainings. The third one, which is board committee composition. Again, I want to laugh about that one because they referred to gender. We have 29% female representation, and they said we should get to 30. I said to them, well, I cannot find 1/4 or 1/3 of a person, and that's so I think at 39% instead of 30%, the bank has done well. So those were the shortcomings referred to. We will publish them in the future and give you more detail. They are here, and if I've said anything incorrect, those are the shortcomings that were referred to. There was nothing chronic or really bad there. Those were the three things. In terms of unclaimed dividends, you are right. When I saw this big portfolio of unclaimed dividends, that's why I told them to take it away. We will continue to work and look for other means to make sure that that list continues to go down. CAC proxy, working and improving the process. I agree with you. I think we can always do things better, but I would like to commend them still for doing this. Eri, was CAC and CBN invited? I believe I didn't want to speak without confirming with him, but I believe that everybody was invited to this meeting. I've taken on board the one obligor for donation limit as well, and the CBN style in asking for donations. I also believe that shareholders must find a better way to preserve and fight for their rights, just the way you see shareholder groups do in other developed parts of the world. Again, I'd like to thank everybody, because this is the last time I'll speak today. Thank you for risking. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for being supportive. Thank you for being the proxies. Thank you.
We'll go to the resolutions. We'll not table before the meeting the resolution being proposed for approval at this meeting. Kindly be informed that in the exercise of the powers conferred on me by virtue of Section 224, subsection 1 and subsection A of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2004, I hereby call a poll on resolutions 1, 2, and 3. Consequently, voting on the said resolutions will be conducted electronically. At the point of registration, each shareholder was given an electronic voting pad, which will be used to vote on the resolutions by poll. I think we have it here. It will also be projected on the screen for shareholders to see. There are 10 numbers, 1 to 10. On the right hand,
one by one in after one another. We take it at one.
Okay,
in
we'll read everything.
the three resolutions.
You can do that. It can be done.
You can do that.
I understand we cannot. One by one, yeah. Are we going? You observe that the e-voting has four. That's already on the screen.
No, you can't.
No, we haven't done.
Yes,
Not yet.
process.
There's a process. You observe that the e-voting pad has 4 colored buttons. As follows: white button indicating sign in, green button indicating yes, red button no. We play the yeah. And yellow is abstain. I've signed it, yeah.
I have to protect my chairman. They have to be 6 feet.
You press mine already. You signed it, yeah? Please, if you press the yellow button, it won't be counted. You are used, okay. Once the registrar has put together a brief video to serve as a guide on how to use the e-voting pad. Okay. Is that the consent of everyone? Okay. Okay, thank you. The first one is to receive and consider the audited financial statements for the year ended December 31, 2019, and the reports of the directors, auditors, and statutory audit committee thereon. The first resolution on the agenda is to receive and consider the audited financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2019, and the reports of the directors and statutory audit committees. Section 334 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, Cap C 20 LFN 2004, mandates the directors of a company to prepare financial statements for each year, which shall include, amongst others, the director's report, the auditor's report, and the report of the statutory audit committee. The directors are required to present before the shareholders of the company of the general meetings copies of the financial statements and company made up to a date not exceeding 9 months preceding the date of the meeting. As the resolution being proposed is an ordinary resolution, a majority representing 50.1% of the total votes cast by the shareholders and proxies here present is required for the resolution to be approved. So we have 30 seconds to vote on this resolution. That is. Please vote now. Yeah, I did.
Voting is over.
Yes.
Voting is over, please. Results.
Stop voting.
The results.
The result. I have.
Okay. At the end of the voting, please note that 100% of those present and by proxy voted in favor of this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. So, following the announcement of the voting result by the registrar, I hereby declare that Resolution 1 to receive the financial statement for the year ended December 31, 2019, and the reports of the directors, auditors, and statutory audit committee has been duly carried. That's 100% there. Yes. Resolution 2 is to declare a dividend. Please recall that our company had paid an interim dividend in the sum of 30 kobo per ordinary share for the first half of the year ended June 30, 2019. Directors are proposing that the payment of an additional sum of 2 naira 50 kobo per ordinary share as final dividend to shareholders whose names appear in the company's register of members at the close of business on Wednesday, March 18th, 2020, bringing the total dividend to be paid for the year 2019 financial year to 2 naira 80 kobo per ordinary share of 50 kobo each. Also, we also adopting the electronic voting, and please, the resolution, we will now proceed with the resolution to pay a final dividend in the sum of 2 naira 50 kobo per ordinary share to shareholders whose name appear in the company's register of members at the close of business on Wednesday, March 18th, 2020, bringing the total dividend to be paid for the year 2019 to 2 naira 80 kobo per ordinary share of 50 kobo each. Please vote now. 7 1. Still expecting 2. Key. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
At the end of the voting, again, 100% of those present and by proxy voted in favor of the resolution to declare a dividend. Thank you.
Thank you. Following the announcement of the voting result by the registrar, I hereby declare that Resolution 2 to declare a dividend in the sum of 2 naira 50 kobo per ordinary share to shareholders whose names appear in the company's register of members at the close of business on Wednesday, March 18th, 2020, bringing the total dividend to be paid for the 2019 financial year to 2 naira 80 kobo per ordinary share of 50 kobo each has been duly carried.
Was actually 8 billion, and the second one is 13 billion. So what created the difference?
The third resolution. Yes, Resolution 3. To authorize directors to fix the remuneration of the auditors. The Companies and Allied Matters Act, provides that the remuneration of auditors may be fixed by the company in general meeting. The board will be guided in this regard by the Audit Committee in line with Section 359, subsection 6, subsection E of which provides that the Audit Committee shall make recommendations to the board with regard to the appointment, removal, and remuneration of the external auditors of the company. The company's auditor is PricewaterhouseCoopers. Please vote now. Following the announcement.
She needs to announce it.
Third resolution to authorize directors to fix the remuneration of the auditors. At the end of this voting, 99.83% of those present and by proxy voted in favor of this resolution. Okay. Thank you.
Following the announcement of the voting result by the registrar, I hereby declare that the resolution authorizing directors to fix the remuneration of the auditors has been duly carried, following that it's above the minimum stated. To elect members of the Statutory Audit Committee. Yeah. We now take Resolution 4, which is to elect members of the Statutory Audit Committee. Section 359, subsection 5 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2004, the Act provides that nominations for election to the Statutory Audit Committee shall be in writing and shall be delivered to the Secretary at least 21 days before the date of the annual general meeting. The Act also provides that membership of the Statutory Audit Committee should be a maximum of 6 members consisting of an equal number of directors and representatives of the shareholders of the company. In compliance with Section 225, subsection 3 of the Act, which states that there shall be no right to demand a poll on the election of members of the Statutory Audit Committee under Section 359 of the Act, voting for this resolution can only be by show of hands. 3 valid nominations were received by the Secretary for election into the Statutory Audit Committee. I hereby request that the nominees for election to the committee, they stand for recognition when their names are announced. In view of this, nominees, Mrs. Sandra Mbagu Fagbemi, nominated by Mr. Gbolahan Ogundipe. 2, Mrs. Ronke Kuye, nominated by Mr. Rasak Abayomi Jinadu. Not yet, okay. Okay, she has a problem about. Okay. Alhaji Mohammed Usman, Miss Mustafa Rabiat. In view of the fact that only 3 qualifying nominations for representatives of shareholders on the Statutory Audit Committee were received for the 3 vacancies available, there shall be no need for election. Accordingly, I hereby move that Mrs. Sandra Mbagu Fagbemi, Mrs. Ronke Kuye, and Alhaji Mohammed Usman be and are hereby elected as representatives of shareholders on the Statutory Audit Committee of the company for the year 2020. May I have a seconder for the motion?
The directors along with these 3 people. Name them.
Oh, okay. Miss Imoni Akpofure. Accordingly, Mrs. Sandra Mbagu Fagbemi, Mrs. Ronke Kuye, and Alhaji Mohammed Usman shall represent the shareholders and join the directors' representatives, Ms. Imoni Akpofure, Mr. O.M. Agosto, and Mr. I. Hassan, to constitute the Statutory Audit Committee of the company for the 2020 financial year. This concludes the
resolution. I move.
Oh, sorry. Seconder, please.
I second.
Those in favor? So the ayes have it. None. Those against? The ayes have it. Well, this concludes the business of the meeting. We'd like to thank you for attending this meeting, which I now declare closed. Just in time for our MD to attend another meeting that came out of the result of yesterday's presidential briefing. Okay, we've closed it. That's not for the record. So the meeting has been declared closed.